Hello everybody, so today I'm going to show you what a student that takes part in the flipped classroom, what he does when he comes home. So the first thing that I like to do is I like to go on the class website. And when I come home, I study the lesson that we're going to take tomorrow. So for example, today we took reactions of gases, tomorrow we're going to take gas stoichiometry. So I'm going to go and study gas stoichiometry. As you can see, there's a whole PowerPoint on gas stoichiometry, and there are questions at the end. So I just go over the PowerPoint and I just go over the whole lesson and I try to understand the lesson. Alright, so after I go over the lesson, I go and open Google Documents. So I go on my Google Docs account and I open up the Google Documents. So not only have I used the Google Documents and the console flipped classroom in the class that I had flipped classroom in, I've also used it for other classes and I found that it really helped me in other classes. For example, in French class we had a project where we had to do a skit, and it's hard to communicate with other students on like social network websites. So Google Documents is very helpful because we can all make changes to this skit and we can all edit the skit at the same time, and we can chat with each other. So it's really helpful for a group project, and it's really helpful for students to communicate after school, especially if they can't meet up. So this is just what we did in French. But back to the flipped classroom. So I go down to the day, today's date, and what I like to do is I like to go and see what other students have been doing and the questions that they've been posting, and just sometimes try to find a challenging question, or a question that's a bit longer that needs more thinking. So I go and do that. As you can see, it's marked by a date, and I go down and I just skim over the questions that other students have been doing. So right here, this looks like a more challenging question, so I'm just gonna go over that question. So after I finish going over the Google Documents, I go back to the lesson, and at the end of each slide there are questions assigned, and I go and try to do one of the questions, and I put the question. I usually do most of the questions and make sure that I understand most of the questions, and I usually post one or two questions on Google Docs. So the good thing about this course is there's an online textbook, so I can use the online textbook to copy and paste the questions on Google Docs and to answer the questions. Alright, so after I open up the online textbook, I checked what questions I have to do, and here it says to do these pages. So the question that I decided to post was number 2. I'm gonna copy and paste it onto the Google Documents. So what I always like to do is I always say, hey guys, I found a nice question on that stoichiometry. It is question number 2 on page 86. And I always like to write the number of the question, and the page, so if anybody wants to go and try out the question, see the question, then they're able to. So I'm just gonna paste that on. So I didn't want to bore you with all the solving and everything, since this is a video but for classroom. But in the end, I solved the question, and as you can see, it's very neat, and anybody that goes over that question can understand what's happening. Now I'm ready for tomorrow's lesson. Tomorrow when I walk into class, I have an idea of what's going on. When the teacher says something, I know what he's talking about. It's not the first time I hear it, so I don't waste my class time thinking of what the teacher is saying. I can actually practice what the teacher is saying. So, just to show you an example of how Google Docs and the flipped classroom are good ways of communicating, not only during good way of communicating after school. There's the topic of mixtures of gases, and there's a topic of Dalton's law of partial pressure that I didn't really understand that. So I didn't really understand how that works. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go on the Google Documents and I'm gonna look up partial pressure because someone probably did a question on partial pressure. So I see here straight away there's a question on partial pressure. So since I didn't understand that topic, it's right here for me. I can just go over the question and try to understand the question. Now, let's say I didn't understand the question. Let's say even after going over all the questions, I still didn't understand the question. Well, since there's people online, I can just ask them to explain partial pressure for me. And I'm pretty sure that in a couple of minutes, someone will come up and answer the question and answer my question. You can see in a couple of minutes, there's already a student already answered my question. Alright, so that's the daily routine of a student in a flipped classroom. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thank you for watching.